Hello everybody, we're in the W Room for this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. The W Room is the room that overlooks McCown Gymnasium's floor for basketball games and volleyball games. First of all, Wednesday, February 3rd, Travis, a big day, a big date, National Letter of Intent Signing Day.
It's the date that you can commit for the 2010-2011 seasons to be a Warrior. And certainly we'll keep you posted on WinonaStateWarriors.com, Twitter, Facebook, all of our media sites on who's signing to play for the Warriors.
You can hear the men's basketball practice going on down on McCown Gymnasium's floor. First of all, though, we're going to talk about gymnastics. Again, they are off to a hot start, but they, like the men's and women's basketball teams in the exhibition, this regular season, though, gymnastics keeps playing Division I opponents.
Yeah, they're doing a tremendous job. Had a great outing at Illinois State, another Division I opponent like you touched on. They put up their best score of the season at 180 points, and Coach Rebecki said it was a team goal for them to hit the 180-point mark before the end of January, and they were just in time. And in the process, had a team vault effort that was placing them 7th best in Winona State history, and that's pretty impressive. You come into McCown Gym and you see some of the banners that have been placed up here for gymnastics. That's an impressive feat to be 7th.
The next meet for gymnastics at Winona State, they were February 6th. Actually, they're at the University of Minnesota up in the Twin Cities, and then they return home February 12th at 6:30 p.m. They take on UW Whitewater, so be sure to come and check that out in Talbot Gymnasium on February 12th.
And we're also going to be actually streaming that one live. It'll be the first ever gymnastics meet streamed live on WinonaStateWarriors.com, so if you can't make it, check it out on the internet.
And next to women's basketball, only one game for the men and women basketball teams here at WSU in Fayette, Iowa, Upper Iowa. Both teams got a win, but starting with the women, a big win going against a winless team in the Peacocks at Upper Iowa. 90-57 the final score. Michelle McDonald, a double-double in the first half.
Yeah, she's been playing outstanding, and certainly has done I think the last 3 games now, double-double for her, and done a tremendous job. Something that I caught up with Coach Ballard earlier on this week, and he said that he was really impressed with the way they played, because they've gone down there and they might have gotten some wins in the past, but it hasn't been that pretty, and he thought it was a pretty good effort all around.
Yeah, great game for the Warrior women. Again, Michelle McDonald, 25 points, 12 rebounds, and she had that double-double in the first half. Winona State women went on a 16-2 run in the first half, and they had a big lead that entire game. Claire Steffen, Natalie Gigler, and Katie Wolf also were all in double figures in Fayette, Iowa. Now on to the men's side. Winona State men had another big victory. Coach Brady Moore agreed with Steve Carley and I when we were on the call down in Fayette. That was probably the best game Winona State men have played all year down in Fayette. They really played tremendous, suffocating defense and a great Upper Iowa team. And in years past, Upper Iowa has been in the lower echelon in the conference. Not this year. They were ranked 10th in the first regional polls. Winona State was only one ahead of them at 9th, and they got a big win.
You're right about that, and the fact that it was a huge win with a team breathing down your neck at 10th in the region. And Winona State, I think a little motivation for the men's team coming in at that ninth spot in the region. So a huge win, and I really like the intensity that I saw out there. I thought one of their best performances as a team, got after it, and second half went on that 17-2 run and never really looked back.
Warrior men are now 15-5 overall, 9-4 in the NSIC conference. David Johnson had a game-high 25 points. He was also 11 of 12 from the free throw line. He's made a living at the charity stripe this season. Currently 9th, as I mentioned, in the regional poll, but a new one coming out momentarily. And there should be no doubt that Winona State should move up those regional rankings, especially with a lot of losses ahead of them.
You'd think so. Some losses ahead of them, plus going on the road to a team that was at 10th and winning by a significant margin, I think would boost them, in my opinion.
The women were also at 9th in the first regional polls, and in that instance, they beat Upper Iowa. A winless team might lower Winona State's SOS, but that's what happens when you play a team that is struggling in the conference. But Winona State women should also move up into that top 8, and the top 8 is where you want to be, because of course the top 8 teams make the NCAA tournament after the conference tournament.
Yep, you're exactly right. That's where you want to be, and certainly you don't want to be kind of on the bubble there waiting around to see what happens in the conference tournament. It can certainly help you, but it can also hurt you depending on who wins it from the NSIC as well as the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
The Warrior men and Warrior women basketball teams are going to be home this weekend. And, of course, Friday night they play Northern State at 6 and 8. The women tip off at 6, men at 8. That is Friday, February 12th. And then the next night, Saturday night, Friday, February 13th. University of Mary is in town. The women tip off at 5 o'clock, men at 7 o'clock. Big game all weekend for both teams. Warrior women they took a loss up at Northern State in Aberdeen, so they're going to want to rebound and get a win there. And, of course, the Warrior men lost to Mary in overtime, so they're going to want to get back that one, and Mary ahead of them in the regional ranking, so it's going to be a big weekend.
Big weekend, a lot of important games coming up, and just remind fans that playing in the whiteout for Friday night against Northern and hoping for a great draw. I mean, it's always a good game with Northern State as well as University of Mary.
Now moving on to Winona State women's tennis. So we caught up with head coach Courtney Zinter, former player for the Winona State tennis team. Welcome to Warrior Weekly. I have Courtney Zinter here. She's the head coach, the new head coach for the women's tennis team here at Winona State University. Thanks for being on Warrior Weekly, Courtney. First of all, you were a player last year on the Winona State tennis team. Tell us how the transition is working out. Now you're the head coach.
It's actually been really crazy. I was not expecting it, but the transition's been going well. I think it's just been a lot of fun to stay involved with something that was such a huge part of my college experience.
And talk about the team, and you're the head coach now, the players, you used to be teammates with them. Talk about the team and how you think you guys can do this year.
I think it's going to be a great season. We have 4 girls returning from last year, and then we got 6 new freshmen who are looking awesome as well. So I think from what I can tell so far, we haven't competed, but I think it's going to be a great season.
So with that many young freshmen on the team, you're setting up to be pretty good in years to come as well.
Yeah, we have 10 girls on the team right now. We have at least 3 recruits coming for sure next year, and a lot of girls who want to walk on. So it's going to be a pretty tough team to get onto, but it's going to be exciting.
A first match has got to be coming up pretty quickly. Tell us when that is and where it is.
Our first match is actually Friday, February 12th. It's here in Winona at 7 p.m. against St. Cloud, which is our biggest rival. So it's going to be an awesome match, but it's going to be a tough one.
Good way to start the season against the rival St. Cloud State. Be sure to come to that against 7 o'clock on February 12th on a Friday right here at the tennis complex. This is where Winona State women's tennis team plays their home matches. Thanks for joining us, Courtney Zinter, the head tennis coach here at Winona State University. Track and field now. The Mankato Open, Minnesota State University Mankato held a track event, and again, WSU track and field, the women off to a great start.
Yeah, doing some great things, and this week led by the 400-meter relay team, who set a Winona State school record by almost 5 seconds. Pretty much shattered it, and also provisionally qualifying for the Division II national championship. So you saw that, but then also Rebecca Steer winning the weight throw as well as the shot put, and Mary Tyson coming in second in the shot put. So some great efforts there, and they continue to do well.
Tremendous start to the season for track and field. Softball, their season starts pretty quickly. The preseason favorite by the NSIC coaches poll to win the conference, and of course it went to the national tournament last year. Hosted some games here. Yeah,
we caught up with Coach Jones on our other show, All Access, and certainly a lot to be proud of from last year. And you just touched on that. It's a new season, and it has a lot returning. Kayla Lewis was picked as the co-player of the year in the NSIC, who did a tremendous job last year, but he's really excited to get going. They started out February 20th. They are down in Kearney, Nebraska, to have some really important in-region games right away to start the year. So they're very excited about that. But he obviously liked the accolades. He likes being the target in the conference, but also picked 3rd in the nation too by the Coaches Association there. But looking forward to getting out there and proving how good they really are this year.
We mentioned track and field before too, and their next meet, February 12th, the Cardinal Open, so right here in Winona at St. Mary's University. So you can go and catch those games again on February 12th, the Cardinal Open. That's it for Warrior Weekly this week. I'm Lukas DeGarmo for Travis Whipple. Thanks for joining us. It's a great day to be a Warrior.